this sort of shocker red hair and these big like Deirdre Barlow like specs, do you know what I mean? And like daft outfits with jumpers tucked into jeans and all this kind of thing. Even though he loved his style, I thought he was a total style icon. Always shining his shoes, would never go anywhere until he shined his shoes. Like he used to always say, like, your shoes make your outfit, make sure your shoes are always clean.
Always happy, always singing, always winding somebody up, do you know what I mean? It was just a really nice environment to kind of grow up in.
It was like living with one of your pals. He was just always game for a laugh, you know, and it was just a very, very fun person to be around.
When you're 5 and 6 and 7 years old, as a very young person, you have your dreams and everything like that. I've been very fortunate that all mine have came true, and I thank God for that.
Earliest memories? Do you know, it's probably actually Kilmarnock, I would say.
I've got a lot of good memories of Kilmarnock. I would say they're probably my earliest memories of him, definitely, actually, of any kind of footballing time.
Flichita bal cosha talenta va Tommy Burns is on tulligur to see in a game. Rinne na chistan is an coachie ake an anoch at sa hoch, agus noch Corma Kilmarnock blian as tuition.
I feel I had to come here for the next 2 or 3 years, and they've given me a marvellous opportunity to come and get involved in the coaching, the training, the overall running of the club, everything to do with the running of the club. So, you know, I learn a lot about management, and that is the most important thing, that when I leave here and hopefully get the job as a manager somewhere, whatever club, I'll know exactly what I'm going to be doing, rather than just going in as just an ex-footballer.
The idea that Tommy would come over to be the kind of assistant manager, Jim McSherry was also a colleague at the time. He was assistant manager, and the idea was to take Tommy from that and help him develop. Dealing with Tommy was the easiest signing I ever made. He just give me the paper and I'll sign it and we'll deal with everything else. But you know, after that,
everyone here's in a very big high. I hope the fans, I'm sure the fans will be the same. Tommy Burns is a big thing for Kilmarnock Football Club.
He had offers from Premier League clubs, but he saw the potential in the club, the people that were working there he wanted to work for, and that was a big decision, and I think it was a big coup for Kilmarnock to get a player of Tommy Burns' stature.
Kilmarnock was great. It was such a family club. Me and Jenna would usually go down with my dad, so it was like super early. So we would just be like kicking about, like talking to everybody, and no, it was just such a good time. That was a great club. We loved that as well. I remember sitting in the dugout one day with like a Kelly bomber jacket on, and it was just one of those clubs you could do stuff like that. Everybody knew everybody, and I would go in and help make the sandwiches and stuff like that, and pour the tea and things, and then I would get like a wee brown envelope with a fiver in at the end before I went home.
En nu de Tommy go Kilmarnock leer slietro hes an ochget se neus nuget va killies in that rain. Van Joloch fleeting in club Channox and dooloch ochget se nui. Agus van carriage Bob Sevraat Jim a manager is on an torche dash suas can a hier train. Chayach get Shinianus and Dara Aje, le Kuchachug got Tommy a good 3 turls at Desachin, Svatebech, Kumalora Street.
So we decided that between the 3 of us, we were going to win the European Cup. No, that season, we were going to wait for a couple of seasons after that. No, between the 3 of us, we'd get in it and we'd put as much hard work in as we possibly could.
Chaben Toshach Toshach Bears and Burns. Beter a heat Jams the Chlucha and the East Fives and Dara Rain is that. And Leap see a Ganasach.
I think the bus gets stuck in the snow. They eventually get there, but then the match is abandoned because there was players showing signs of hypothermia.
David McKinnon was in the field of play, and he had hypothermia, and the referee to say, look, I need this guy's health at stake. And we said, no, just leave him on until it gets really serious. No, we did. Again, that was just Tommy. Tommy just would crack a joke or say something. It was very good.
Sikia Tays and Swanike at Kilmarnock with Tommy och turls a league, a keeloch out, get the Gaveloch Teich, there's Savinach.
The fans loved him. The fans absolutely loved him. You know, he won a game after game after game.
And a says a nuch at a hoon cigar, Tommy Burns enyamachu Marlies manager, a couple of the 2 fleeting as Jim McSherry. Liliesachin, get Jenna with a fadke, agus sports Judy, va Jonah Lawanachun and Pochkanan, va hiet legen a tesan, idlis a Ach jarig shin se vlenud. A steward ydych game y macha och gyfynig, Chael, Fleeting agus McSherry yn driachgan. Le Burns, y gael haddys mae'r manager i dar amal gydjedd yn y season. Ce mwr y slia y fyddig Tommy y ddasg yn y chlub y bash gyda chria, Celtic. Ba Tommy Burns mae'r hawla iddo nariniach sy'n jech a hogal, agos fy'n ysgilyn i glesa estrad yn crwyet y siar Glasgow na chwtioch yga an y fiedjan o Elias yn cwywa. Chwychia coe ciad zoch gemas yn Celtic, agos ciad sysgyts cead tyrys dy Chilavarnag, a chapi talent bal cosio y fain i fac ei yn y sonrigio. Sysgialach gasio mae ie'n tiawlach ysgrydyf, mae ie'n irymsiach gys cwadach ging. Mae ie'n fer y faddys bwyn an yn cyn yn iach sbych yn English.
Tommy, he's an East End, a Glasgow boy. He's born in the Calton district, into the parish of St Mary's, which is obviously the same parish that Celtic was formed back in 1887. So I think there's a sense that he was destined to play for Celtic because of that parish connection.
Me and Thomas Burns grew up in 43 Soho Street, off the Gallowgate. Just normal kids going to school, coming back, playing football at night.
That's where I first started kicking the ball about round the back court. With 3 bidding cans at the back and a ball, and that was it. We just made up sides and played among ourselves, and we just used the whole midden as the goal, both sides of the back court, and many a good cup final we played there.
My gran lived in the Drygate, which was just kind of off Duke Street, so a lot of the time if we were going to hers, he would kind of drive down by sort of where he grew up and stuff like that, and he'd be like, that's where my school was, or that's where I used to play football, and he would kind of tell you about what it was like back then for them and stuff as well.
Rwgwch Tommy Burns sydd y chiala giog yn y dŵloch cwg at sysia. Hwg add Tommy sydd add Macia and the flat closer and the ski the chrwy Charlton y tyfsher bala Glasgow, conla the gios chlonia illa.
Thomas grew up with his sister Elizabeth and his sister Anne up in the top, and I grew up with 4 girls and 4 boys, but yet Thomas wanted to stay in my house every weekend because he thought it was more fun sharing the room with 4 guys than what it was sharing the room with 2 girls. So it was tough then, but it was a good upbringing.
Get nach be cathliach of an avad chain tiwlwch yn tŵgal sa chrydyf, ac ach donach idd yn gwsiachad sy'n ieiddyn le sacwrt y fara holwtio bal cosioch lich colodd i Tommy agus Jerry.
He'd be first in the football park, so we'd go away and get changed after chapel, come back, get changed, and you couldn't be late because the kick-off was about 1 o'clock.
The first time I came across him was in a reserve game at Dumbarton. Tommy stood out that night, first time I had seen him play. This elegant, very, very slim midfield player with a cultured left foot, and as I say, with that fiery red hair. He stood out a mile, not just with that, but with his ability on the ball.
He was really good technically, but obviously he didn't get called Wee Tam because he was a big guy. He got called Wee Tam because he was small.
Tommy had shot up tall enough to be called Big Tam, but everybody still called him Wee Tam.
Va talan Tommy y ffas cholwys y fa hen le taich fo ferinadal John Rice y foich yn y sgilyn bol cosiaca. Van dorsad ag sgol strach cer cwtioch gos cwn boys guild nŵf mother agos who met Tommy is Jerry ein llych arst.
He had a club and he was absolutely unbelievable.
He always kept in my mind, you know, you got to get in there and you got to train and you know, work with the ball and practice and dedicate yourself and everything like that. And he was the guy who got me my first pair of football boots.
He opened the school up in Kerr Street, and it was a club that we went to from Monday to Friday. It was stairs within the school, and he regarded that as training up and down the stairs, every night.
Chlich Tommy Burns chomat a skippen nŵf moddys gyn dŵad a corym tiach yn ag Middlesbrough, y glwysad ag y nŵ naam gy club a Easter Craigs. A corplan diach y gwys va ffeil y skillen fo grŵn chlubichan, na misg Celtic yn club y van a chwyslan.
At that time, I mean, Celtic were European champions, and they were qualifying for the later stages of Europe every year and everything like that. And it's, you know, all of a sudden the whole enormity, the whole thing. I says, well, I'm 15 years old, I'm going to get in here and sign for Celtic. And say, well, I'm never going to make it here. That was the thing that was right at the back of my mind. It's okay, you know, going in and signing an S form for somebody or whatever, but I'm never going to actually make it here. John says, look, have you seen the trophy room? And that was the clinching thing. As soon as I went in there and seen everything, and I mean, my father, God rest him, saying to me, he says, Thomas, you know what you're doing here? This is Celtic you're saying, not here.
He was always the life and soul of the party. Always up dancing, always singing. It's just amazing memories to have. To grow up with that in your house and things, it was just really good.
We used to have the record of the Celtic rap. I think it was the Centenary team, I think, recorded it. So we would literally just play that non-stop and we would just run round.
Chapa na chasan y fain y fa tal an Tommy. Heiniga o'r an cwtioch, agos syma eich holichtio y fec yn siwlwch fan a chaich dyn y shein a'ch a hen.
They were great nights. They were probably some of the best days of my life.
You had to have a song. Like, you absolutely had to have a song. If you didn't have a song, you learnt a song. Packy and Anne come over, Charlie and Claire. We used to have, like, really good parties, and just, like, all the kids used to just sit and watch all our mums and dads singing and all that. It was great.
Him and Mum sang together. They sang Islands in the Stream, the Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers song. They sang that together.
Islands in the stream, that is what we are.
Brilliant. Miss it. We should be singing it now.
And if you were singing, they'd take over your song and you'd get told to sit down, and do you know what I mean? Just a total rabble.
No, we never sang together. I'd like to have done that though, thinking of it now.
He was on the ground staff, I think, when I met him. So that was like getting up in the morning and maybe sweeping the terraces and polishing the players' boots like Jimmy Johnson. I think that was it at that time, you know.
Not just an apprenticeship in terms of your football. They would have trained as well, so they would have been given a kind of football lessons, but also think it's character building as well.
Maar wat cwmant ag y naam ga i'n clwch y ddog ag Celtic chwyd ymach yn y juniors. Fy y charage Jerry Collins, chwyd y Tommy go Mary Hill Juniors is on smyrach yn achrawan. Yn geraf chlybau fyr yn Josh Skillen, Danny McGrain yn Gleisig. Chwyd Tommy nwy giag tyl ans gach fachbys, Jesach Huma is on Chilig y Celtic.
And he played there for a season long, just to get, they would tell you to toughen you up. And then he left Mary Hill to go back to Celtic, and that was him ready to go and fight for reserve teams and first team.
As Stewie enya mach the coon and profession tech Celtic the dress la figet gen a loonlessel chachka se 3 whom Tommy the kopike krui. Me jedig half hanit je koramaken. The noon je la chier gen a gipling chachka se koek who the goos is on a pursued le plasse te the head skipper. Harwaw nach grishak weg for na bengi ach gave lan vra in the choram.
He was only 18 when he made his debut. He came on, I think it was about the last half hour of a game against Dundee, and for Paul Wilson, we actually lost the game. Although the Celtic View the following week had, in its match report, identified as one of the few highlights from that game was the introduction of Tommy Burns, and said he'd you know, produced a display of old-fashioned and graceful football. But even though he made his debut in '75, it was maybe another season or two before he was really became an established player.
Get nach rona korm yn achanya va Stewishin, rohes an shachka sa shia sa shachk, va Tommy het gelior yemach yn y chwliche is on a hiad bound league ag y chosnig. Sesan amsa de choshing Celtic da goush, agos y chwna ki hiad yen a hochgat as cead tøl o chwdag yn a club.
Tommy would have been in deeply embedded in his heart, so he maybe understand it a lot more than what other people did.
Ron ik hiad jem ag va Tommy het clwche nuadilla an the game Carchel, y nochgus on the game sin an oi Hamilton as unish Carter, va Jock Steen as munien gyro Burns ro Vracal an a vi smunien gyro ag a vitoshachu.
I leave you going into the bath, you're playing like an old man, so that was me, and totally distraught.
Beter stad de chud e vad va vi torcha nui y the manager clwchach.
That's me, I'm no longer make it Celtic. That was a big joke said to me then. I was like, oh, don't see that joke, Steve.
At the following week's wages, Thomas got his wages and there was a wee letter in it, a wee note, and it was an extra £20. There was a wee note, give the £20 to your mother and ask her to buy you a coat.
Anna sés an seachgat sa hoch sa nui, va Burns go cunnavalach sa skippe, agus get a vada gorstachú san a Jameson jach an chichtel ag leeg, chosine ant an a nechtre, le bau ne a neich enyama lig le jinner at ligas am Celtic. Mar valach a chai hook ala fallas pathke Celtic, va Tommy Burns dia with a velglach gilish a club sa chujechtre.
He was Celtic through and through, just stayed down the road for the ground. Went to school down there. Brother Walfred got the idea of forming Celtic Football Club from the same church, so he had a lot of history about himself.
There's never been a player closer to Celtic Park, born and bred, than Tommy Burns.
The crowd related to Tommy, and Tommy related to the crowd. If the crowd didn't take to you, then your life wasn't worth living. You weren't worth living in front of the jungle.
If you were accepted by the jungle, it helped you as a Celtic player. And I think with Tommy playing, particularly when we were attacking the Rangers end, he would play left side a lot, so he would have got that line a lot. So he developed a bond with the jungle, and I think when you consider he was born not too far from there, you know, all these things played a part in how Tommy turned out to be the player he was for Celtic.
He did say that when you pulled on a Celtic jersey, you were playing for a people and a cause. And some people might find that extreme, as I say, but you knew exactly where he was coming from.
As a fan himself, he just realised how much it meant to the fans in the stands.
Ba fear you higshe that Burns is magrain na the fatke. Is on a chuche smoo janúne ka you. A chavain yn oedd efo Tommy, y ffagol Danny Lachey at y chŵl, sy hen mas i'r could eindiach gŵr ddys i gem.
So I played left back, and Tam would play in front of me. I had to say to Tam, what the f are you doing? Why are you not coming back? And he went and said, yeah, but Danny, you've got you there, you get Tam McAdam, you get Roy Aitken, you get Alan Snedden at the back. If one of you kind of stop this guy getting the ball in the box, then you're a really bad team.
I don't know why Danny was that far forward anyway. I mean, Danny was prolific for the club, wasn't he? He scored 1 goal every year. So, and by the way, he had a great relationship with Tommy. Great relationship, so... But I can't believe Tommy never came back and covered for him.
That was great days of doing something that you never knew we were doing. It's counter-attacking. Now it's every team does it. But Tam never knew. Tam never claimed it to be. It was my laziness that made counter-attacking a great thing.
Couldn't turn the heating on, couldn't do a washing, couldn't iron a shirt. Totally incapable of doing anything in the house.
I remember one time he went to Hoover and he was trying to turn it on, but it wasn't plugged in. He didn't know how to plug a Hoover in. I mean, that's the kind of level of like nothingness that he did in the house. Did not have a clue how to do anything. Unbelievable.
I went to Reading with Tommy later, and I went down there as assistant manager, and I was the bottle washer, I was the cook, I was the cleaner, I was the one that looked after. We lived together for 6 months in the house, and now you get to know somebody very, very deep when you actually live with them. And Tommy Burns, my God, I don't think Tommy could put a bulb into a light.
Is on Tommy charon sa kitchen ach anche jessica son a game.
And it was one of the ones, if I go in there for a drink, I'm getting caught with him for like the next good hour about him talking to me about tactics and all that. Like, it was literally anybody that would listen. He was just so passionate about it, and like, he would say, right, sit down, I'll show you this. This is what I'm trying to do, and I'd be sitting going, I don't have a clue what you're talking about.
Conla di chichtlin an na seachgat sa nui, ochgat sa hún, agus ochgat sa ga, Thóg Tommy Cúteach cúchban na Halapa an an 8 agus 8 sa 5 a thuiligad cúchba líg an an 8 sa 3. 3 blian na stúa sin ba caid colach go an síchtl I the líag go Tynecastle.
We went 16 games undefeated and we won the last 8. And I was convinced we could do it at Love Street that day.
Paul McStay, finding Aiken, now McGrain, Celtic, and cool cry now as McClare gets free on the right. There's Johnston. Absolutely magnificent.
I think when you look back at that day and many other days of Tommy Burns' performance, there was a big beaming smile in his face. It's happened many a time with Tommy, but particularly in those days, you saw that smiling face and contentment and happiness he had for his team being successful.
Sa chiad at blianach go bh cúteam sáirit a Celtic na dúis an mór a bhuineag, ach bhain tuolach útra med an gúilnin an a sés an echtria.
I felt that was possibly the best Celtic team I played in, which was quite exceptional, and possibly for, I think, about 6, 7, 8 years. We won 4 league championships and we were runners-up, and another 2 or 3, which we should have won them as well. But that was an exceptional team with a lot of real quality players.
That season, one of the key characters or characteristics of the team was that never say die attitude, that the number of games where we scored late goals to avoid defeat or to win, you know, the 2 games, the cup semi-final and the final, are absolutely perfect examples of that. We were 1-0 down against Hearts in the semi-final, going into injury time, and we win 2-1. We're 1-0 down in the final against Dundee United, and 2 late Frank McAvenny goals. You know, we win the cup.
30 seconds from the end, McAvenny does it.
Get a Tommy eolach go leor a dúis in a bhuineag, by grán chéilevan a dhéanú sa chiad ar ceann bliana, a snaig ineam an a leorach in echtri a club. Leis an síchtl le gléig ac yn taidid den J i the tris la fichad gan a Yipling, hannig yn sés an cacawn le cwrs nach cwchban Halapa yn oed yn Dundee United.
And there goes the final whistle. The double for Celtic.
Tommy was very emotional after that, and I think more than anybody, he realised he had won many league titles and Scottish Cups, League Cups with Celtic, but I think Tommy immediately knew what that meant to be part of a double winning team in Celtic's centenary year. You know, you don't get that chance very often, you know, once. And I think that's where he was coming from there, that he knew how special that was.
Tommy Burns.
It was the funniest period ever to be in that dressing room. You know, Tommy, fantastic character. You know, David Prov and Johnny Doyle was there at the time. Frank McGarvey coming. You know, I go back to Vic Davison, who was a funny guy in the dressing room, and they all bounced off each other. You know, I was Irish. I kind of sat in the background a little bit, and I loved listening to the stories and listening to their one-liners. They were fantastic at it. And Tommy, of course, then when we did win things, get up and he would sing a song, and he would do so many things. And I think I look back at it, and it was probably the happiest period of my life during that 80s when we were winning cups, winning leagues, and enjoying our football. And none of us wanted to even leave that, you know.
I just want to say hello to my wife, tell her how much I love her, and my children, and the wee John Paul Connor who's in the hospital. I love you, and I'll be up to see you Monday.
Ag táiseach na sés an sin bheith Tommy Burns at game dúise a chosnig is anna chud siadahis gan a club. Game a chaich luchanáid Liverpool iad a nua lá in a Lunastal 8 sa 6.
Probably the only kind of memory I've got of him playing was his testimonial match.
The bigger the game, then you're obviously really desperate to do well in the game, so your inside's crunching away all the time. The day I think will be a wee bit different because I think people just be there to enjoy themselves, hopefully, you know.
He was asked, I think it was in the Celtic View, what was his greatest achievement when you think of he played over 500 games for Celtic, and he won so many league titles and Scottish Cups and League Cup, and he said it was actually staying at the club so long because bad players don't play for Celtic for 14 years.
Hook Tommy a baun ma jedega ke mar chlichit at some Celtic and the koersjere nach Cwchban na Halapa na Rangers and the Nochgat sa nui. Shach mias and a Stuation chlicha and game ma jedega ke na Ajax.
I don't know if it was an instinctive thing to take his boots off and throw them into the jungle, but I think it was very fitting, I think, that you know, that boy for the Carlton, the Celtic supporter that grew up supporting Celtic and had the pleasure of playing for them, felt that the fans in the jungle that had supported him, giving them stick as we all get over the years. He just wanted to show that he was one of them, and that was, you know, emotional even looking at it from the stand.
Walker back to Grant inside the box. A brilliant goal for Celtic. That's Burns. That was magnificent.
Le gdíach mar chluiche a seachat ag Celtic, ba Tommy Haas de chluiche Kilvarnick, yn oeddech ei enymach yw gyffyrmel mar manager ag tonsach ses a nŵnchat sy gas y tri, a styrg af cwlwch ydi Jim Fleeting. Charafate gys roi ffolosiach gyro'n dynnu carstach ag ystwyd.
It was a no-brainer for me. It was a great opportunity to work with a great man. You never know how they're going to be as a player and a colleague. You don't know how they're going to be in management, but I was pretty sure he had the qualities to succeed.
In the 2.5 years I've been here, it's opened my eyes enormously to the fact that Kilmarnock's a big club.
Ba Tommy the charage for Lion Cluichek Celtic is Kilvarnick Billy Stark a hortisteach mar lees manager. Befer je haun Cluichek than Celtic a here that who got a sheach Kuchuk, George McCluskey.
That night he appeared. I signed a contract for him. He went out the door and I didn't even know what I'd signed. He threw a couple of smarties to the range, and about a week later I phoned him up and went, I don't know what I've signed with you. He says, ah, you're an idiot, I'm getting to nothing.
That Kilmarnock period in Tommy's career, you know, he gave everything for Celtic, but I know he gave everything for Kilmarnock, and you know, both playing, getting them out the second division, and then as manager promoting them to the first, to the Premier League, where they've remained ever since. I think that shouldn't be forgotten about what Tommy did for that club, which was a great club.
His main thing about that side was the fitness. They had to be fit, and he demanded it in training every single day.
Yes! Ga iedereen een skipper coachie in Clubbert Suez, Ruta Gaiano.
We managed to, you know, get there in the end. It was nail biting. We needed a point, I think, against Hamilton in the last game to get into the Premier League, and we managed to do that. And it was a great cause for celebration, as you can imagine. It was a big thing for Kilmarnock to get into the Premier League.
Bachulishan y dolch gyma as on Kilvarnick, agos fa Tommy y planig on y na chem yn y ddahanig fys for Celtic, y chwyd na planig yn sŵrlaen ac yn siwlwch bwnas cewn.
So I remember being on holiday, and I remember my mum saying your dad needs to go back, he needs to go and speak to Fergus McCann.
That decision to leave for Celtic, I think, was not one taken lightly, but I think it was one that he really couldn't turn down. I think most people understood that. Some more in the fullness of time, because it was quite raw at the time. We were loving it at Kilmarnock, but the pull of Celtic was just too great.
Fa Pat Bonner of a Celtic iddylig elefalaf yn ymys glwysyd go Kilvarnick colad I Tommy, yn y hwyd emach gybyg a chiliwch yn chawn chlabacir.
Then the phone went, and it was Tommy, and he says, I'm coming back to Celtic. He says, the next line was, will you come back? And I don't think there was any other conversation really. And I says, of course, I'll come back. I didn't even think about it. I wanted to be with Tommy, because that's what I was going to Kilmarnock for, no disrespect to Kilmarnock. I wanted to work with Tommy and Billy Stark. But then for them to come back to Celtic, your dream was back, and to come back after being freed. So I came back in a kind of a joint role, but typical Tommy, nothing was written down, you know.
Ac trichyd sy siach bli yn y gŵs, fa cwtch yn yw'n y basg Tommy, y faddach yn gyroed tyligus tra wylwch o Celtic I gael.
And I said to him, Thomas, it's too early for you. You can't take the job now, because if you look across the city, they've got the upper hand, and it's hard. Unless whoever's giving you the job is going to match what the Rangers are doing, then you're on a hiding to nothing. But he kept saying, these jobs don't come around, and it's a merry-go-round. It may never come back around to me again if I turn it down.
Didn't just get it because he was Tommy Burns. He got it because his name was good in the coaching world.
He's Burns for Tenerife on Corrigan de Fergus McCann. agus cha eilsechu mar manager Celtic iad a dar lá tío gan a nniuchad nuchad sa céad. Be táiseach capite léilevan is son a dhíle van a Charlton. Iad as na faras cha ír iad an tícht lein iad as for Rangers, an boring gan a dúas yn móra a hort iad as gapad ga Celtic.
He used to say that he prayed every single day that he'd play for Celtic, you know. So when that eventually happened, it was like a dream come true for him. A lot of his success as a footballer, I think, he put down to the fact that it was his faith, you know, and I think as he got older, he just started to invest more in his faith, you know.
Yeah, that was very important, like really, really important too.
Anis dys an iddymsiach sa yw natar, char amor yn ychydig Tommy Shears na suas a chyfain na nisio dy briag by fydol gan eidym.
And I remember saying to Jonathan, right, what do you want to do? Do you want to go to Mass or do you want to go to McDonald's? And he was like, oh, McDonald's. I was like, right, okay, but you can't tell Mum, can't tell Dad, we'll go to McDonald's. Right, okay, fine.
My dad was like, oh, you're coming to Mass with your old dad and stuff like that, you know. And I was like, oh, no, I've already been. And he went like that, oh, no, you've not. You know, but he was saying it in a jokey way. But subconsciously, I was thinking, he knows.
Me and Jenna are back out in the car and makes this phone call with my dad, and I thought, weird, why is he phoning me? So pulled in, he's like, Emma. I just knew straight away. I knew by the voice, and I was like, aha. He's like, get yourself back here right now. And I was like to Jenna, oh no, we're caught. Like I can't do it. Like because everybody sees the kind of placid, laid back, but when his temper went, like literally you would run for your life. Like it wasn't a good place to be if he broke his temper. But he just stayed so calm, and he was like, don't ever lie to me, don't ever miss Mass, and don't ever make him miss Mass ever again. So he went, oh my God, I'm sorry. He never spoke to me like the rest of the night, and I just felt terrible.
It was bad. Emma never spoke to me. She only started speaking to me a couple of weeks ago, to be fair about that. So it was mad, it was.
Tommy was into God, which was terrific to see him getting joy from going to a chapel.
Tommy got solace in his faith.
You can spend some time there talking to Jesus or Mary or whoever it is I'm speaking to help them, to be the remedy as opposed to something that's going to cause more problems. You know, be the remedy for something in every way, and just to be guided that you do the right thing because you're the leader of a fantastic football club and thousands of people look to you for guidance.
Chlech Tommy a chrytje was on taich chumal de syniad cwl Joe Sullivan se ven mairad no de hwyr at y mach gyrwad de nianach y Joan na chawl.
We got the terrible phone call at 1 o'clock in the morning from my sister to say that Joanne had been involved in a serious car crash, and she was serious, and unfortunately within half an hour the call came back to say that Joanne had been killed in the car crash. At times like that, your faith is definitely questioned, but the way Tommy had written the letter certainly made you think again about things. You brought a very special person into this world and brought her up to be a truly lovely young lady. I pray to God in heaven that you both may at times close your eyes and remember the wonderful moments you all shared and draw strength from them. Joe, Margaret, I keep thinking what I would do if anything happened to any of our kids, and it just cracks me up, even the thought of it. I've taken to lighting a candle for you both and for Joanne, your little angel, every morning after Mass. Joanne has gone early to take her place in heaven among the angels. In doing that, she will take good care of her beloved mum and dad every day of your lives. Your beautiful girl is now a saint in heaven. Pray to her often. She hasn't gone forever, only until we all meet again. What a wonderful thought.
Young people can't really imagine what Scottish football for Celtic was like. There was some really bleak times on the park, but obviously we got to the stage where the club almost went under, and Fergus came in and rescued it. I think the problem was that you then had a rebuilding phase, and by the time Tommy came in, and it was, when you look at it, it was the right appointment because you needed somebody who got the club, who knew what the supporters were looking for, and he was going to try and deliver it. But obviously the opposition had such a head start that it was always going to be difficult.
Began vias yn ystio i ynopadain, ba cora mag Tommy Spilly I chiad gwrs y hogal y nwy Raith Rovers am yn cwrs ieran o'ch cwch belid. I ganyan misniach ben skipper Cad Chaltin in Glen Cwchbeth Liffen Penash.
There's no God-given right to win that cup. I can remember the game well. We actually played well in the game. It just seemed to be that we didn't take the chances. You know, fair play to Raith Rovers, they did enough on the day to win the game.
Le Rangers y bwyn i league the eist yn anwch at y ced sy cwg, fa yn chwarae mele dwys eich jedyn y sesan yn y cwchben y halapa. Yn rachig ag Burns sydd y hiad gwys fa och at y nwy a chosnig som Celtic.
That was massive. I remember having like a rosary ring in my pocket, like actually praying, just please let us win this, please let us win this.
Ba tribunal y bechgach ag tacra Kilavarna gyson edrych at Gioli a chai ac I manager edadyn yn clychyd adyn y chwmal the game.
He always used to say fear is a useless emotion, and that's what I always had in my mind. Go out and play and enjoy yourself and enjoy playing in front of these fans because they're the most important, and that's what he always said himself, they're the most important people at the football club.
It was a goal fitting to win any cup final.
I knew if I got it into an area then there was a good chance that Van Hooydonk was going to be there, and luckily that day got it into the box and he finished it off against John Martin, so it was good to have a wee hand in the goal.
You can just tell it's total relief and yeah, amazing.
As a fan, as a manager, like for everybody else involved, all the players, like he was just so happy. It was a great day.
Watch out, get out, watch your last year.
He'd won his first trophy as Celtic manager, and you know, we were then able to look forward to more, we felt, but obviously that wasn't to be.
Va mis mór ag luch taich Tommy ach na rachig at rawat at hu villa chafu chlonian fatish yn gayan.
I think I might have been in high school at the time, and it was more all the kind of boys in my class, like, oh mate, your dad's the manager of Celtic and blah blah blah, and then I can remember getting into loads of fights, loads of like arguments, like going and saying, I mean, what's he playing him for, and why did they do that, and like at the time you're looking back thinking, you're 14, I mean, what do you know?
We were at St Mirren, and there was a guy sitting in front of me and my mum, and he was absolutely giving my dad pelters. It was like the wee kind of wooden seats at the time, so he's standing up, giving my dad dog's abuse, and I've just flicked his seat up so that when he sat back down, he kind of fell on his backside because I was not having any of it.
Chanich Tommy the Rosemary and Jay Fossiga sy'n nog fi as siach at y cedd. Y Fossiga Norsen i the cher o la fichyd yen y nog fi as ochgyd. Rwcwch I cherad chlonigachge, Emma, Jenna, Michael agus Jonathan an y noch at y hwn, och at y coig, och at y siach agus nwchyd. Ha Carish Tommy, Jerry, cwmal amach gyries yn nhw colagad.
Thomas was in the ground staff and I introduced Thomas to Rosemary, and the minute he met her, that was it. They've never looked back.
When I first met him, very quiet. He was very quiet, didn't have a lot of confidence in himself.
They were happy. Do you know what I mean? It was a happy marriage. It was a happy house, so it was always good.
Ar o data gŵl gan rachig dachi ys tiwlwch a fach o toliche yn riebig as y chela yn ydych ai ail si craich gyn y chorachig.
I don't actually think that, well, certainly I don't think I understood how severe it was at the time. I think because the word cancer wasn't really used and it was like melanoma. So at the time I didn't know anybody that had that, or when it was like, yeah, it's a form of skin cancer, and you're kind of like, all right, okay, great, like, that's fine, so get whatever it is cut out and we'll be absolutely fine.
And I actually went with him that day to see Dr. Gupta. We went up. So he went in and he came out 5 minutes later and he sat down and I was like, oh, what's happening? He's like, he wants to cut it out right away. I was like, all right.
We were actually okay, again, because we're ignorant, and we still are, it's really to skin cancer, especially in this country.
For a time, you know, we were, you know, it was looking good for a time. It was all rosy, you know.
He brought in the Canio, he brought in Van Hooydonk, Cadet, Andy Tom, and then the Canio Tommy loved those guys, and he loved bringing them to the club because he sold the club to them. Coming to Celtic Football Club at that particular time, who hadn't won anything for it, he actually sold the club to them. And these were, especially Andy Tom, was a big player from Germany. De Canning was a big player from Cadet. I remember playing against George Cadet, Portugal, and he was a big time player. Van Houtig was the one that was less known, but became a big player, Dutch guy. So to sell the club to those 4 guys, get them in and make sure that they could perform on a weekly basis was incredible.
And we were a swashbuckling side. We loved to go forward, create chances, scored goals, and he wouldn't have it any other way, you know.
I remember going to meet Canio. I don't even know why we were there. I don't know why he kind of took us to these places, but it was, I think, West Point Hotel, which was just up on the kind of road to East Kilbride. And he'd just been in the gym, so he shows up out the gym with this hair, all pure slick back, sweating, these mini, like, bright yellow shorts. It was just like nobody that you were used to. Like, my dad would go out running with a black bin liner over him, do you know what I mean? And this guy showing up with these hot pants on.
Crazy guy, actually crazy. I remember going to Celtic Park one day, and he, again, was in early with my dad, and he was rolling about the floor thinking he was like Rambo or something. He had like the army marks on his face, and I was just like, who is this absolute head case?
And then I remember George Cadet's first Christmas. He invited him up to the house, and I think that was probably more a culture shock for him and his wife than it was for any of us, because I think they were like, what the hell have we come into here? Because it was like aunts, uncles, everybody just talking at them for different directions about Celtic, and I think they were just like totally gobsmacked.
Mar chluchad charoana anas de Tommy vi punnig yn o'i Rangers ach mar vanage va fachuchim. U gangen chydach game a chawl an an nuchas a coag sa shia chliach mich at sadara ache.
You know, we went through that season losing only 1 game, and I think in any time in history that normally would be enough to win you the league championship. I think we were a better team that season in terms of the team and the way we played, but Rangers had match winners. And I think that's what got them over the line in the end. You know, McCoy, Gascoigne, Laudrup could you know, conjure a goal when it was most needed to win the game, and I think that's what it was. It was, you know, we had a few more draws than Rangers did, and you know, that proved to be the defining factor in the season, I think.
Charachiach gyda nhw'n chynnyfylach gyhewlting yn na hesan, agos as jwy cawl ddys yn niclwch ddech sy'n ni'r chwr sgyrynach dy chwpen a halapa, da ffysau conye fale gyda driach gyfanager yn Cwnard.
Well, as far as I know, I'm still the manager, Jim. And that's the way I intend to keep it.
They struggled to go on with Fergus McCann and stuff. They didn't really have a great relationship. I think he was under probably a lot of pressure that people weren't really aware of, and probably even to this day don't really know or understand a lot of the pressures that kind of came with it.
Idan darla yene cheche nuchas a shech can ik na faham and fear.
It is with regret that I announce that Celtic has decided to release Tommy Burns from the remainder of his contract.
Choshich Burns a machas a dukoloch mar a hannig astay from Doris Oy.
He said, I come in the front door and I'm going back out the front door. That was the type of man he was, you know. He faced the music, didn't shirk his responsibilities.
And rightly so. He'd done nothing that he should have hid from or be ashamed of, and I'm sure at the time he would have thought that he should have kept the job. You know, the team had shown remarkable improvements over those 3 years.
For all the reasons that we've spoken about Tommy getting the Celtic job, you can imagine how that exaggerates the feelings when you have to leave as well, and he found it very tough.
And he went home and there was like press all around the house, and he had to jump over the back wall so to get away from all the press and stuff.
And Canio came in. He was gutted, do you know what I mean? He was devastated, as was my dad, but it was almost like my dad was comforting him. Do you know, like he just lost his job and he's like, it's okay mate, it's alright. And we sat and watched a programme, his time as a manager and stuff like that. And I remember looking over and just seeing like tears like kind of coming down his face, not actually crying, but he just looked so sad. So yeah, that was a terrible time for him. I feel really sorry for him because I just think, obviously, I think if he'd won more season, he would have done it.
I just remember feeling so sad for him because I just thought, like, he probably worked for Celtic for free. Like, he just absolutely loved everything about them. Loved the drive up to Celtic Park every week. Like, I remember being in the car with him, he would just like, he would say, like, how lucky am I to be driving up here
and we would get to, let's say, like a certain part of the road when you get to Kilmarnock, and you can kind of see like the kind of break in the buildings, and you can then see like Celtic Park, and you would always like, oh, there it is, Jen, there's paradise, like every single time without fail.
Tommy, welcome to Newcastle, obviously in a different capacity to your previous job. Was it a difficult decision for you?
Yeah, it was a difficult decision because obviously the opportunity to go elsewhere is more in mind. But I felt that the lure of working alongside Kenny and the quality players that's here at the club proved too much. So I'm delighted to be here and looking forward to it very much.
It was good for him to get back and get the boots back on and get back onto the pitch, do his training, coaching, whatever he wanted to do, because we were going to get the benefit of that.
I mean, I think ideally I'd like to have went to Real Madrid and been the manager there, but they never asked me.
But I think he definitely appreciated massively, kind of getting back into football and somebody sort of believing in him.
That was a godsend. We're very grateful to Kenny for doing that.
Well, he never stayed that long. He did that well that Reading came in and took him away.
Get the van down, my gig Newcastle Lochver, Harafaticus and Rotomi close to the Dish, Idashkevin a manager.
He was always going to move on somewhere else. And as long as he was happy with what was coming up for him, there was no way that we were ever going to stand in his way. Just let him get on with it and wish him all the best.
I remember him saying to me, he says, we'll go down here, this is a real chance for us to learn and all the learning he had done at Celtic Park, but he knew that he could go down there and just get concentrate back on football, not on all the other stuff that goes around about.
That didn't really work out, did it?
Even when I moved down and went into school, a lot of people didn't actually understand what I was saying when I was speaking. So it was it was difficult to sort of settle in.
Like, I don't really think they got my dad's personality and stuff. Like, he would crack a joke and we would all be killing ourselves laughing. It was just like tumbleweeds, like nobody was laughing. They were like, oh.
You could tell it was hard for him because we're so upset every night and going to school. I was sometimes I was sick in the morning before I went to school because I was so nervous. It was terrible. And that was his life, and he was probably thinking to himself, this is kind of my fault.
I think he struggled with it, to be fair, as well. I just don't think that he was happy enough, where he was to really excel,
Maar een badje vaatje club bouwen vrienden zich hier gas en kaartjes uit de schaarige. Kudaronje breindes gejiedig.
So he wrote this letter out and he showed it to me. He said, I'm going to send this to the chairman. And he sent it, Dear John. Dear John. And big long letter. So I sent it away anyway. So nothing was happening. So but a week later, he says, you won't believe, I got an answer back from the chairman, from John Medeski. Nigel Howell came in, and there was a letter returned, 3 lines on it. One, please in future call me Mr. Chairman and do all your business through Nigel. So Tommy was like, oh, for God's sake. So I think the writing was on the wall at that point. We knew that this isn't gonna work.
But I was delighted as well when he got the sack, I think. I would say so. I remember the night it happened, Peter Grant was staying with us. And my mum said, brilliant, we're going to go to Marks and Spencer tonight, get something nice for the dinner to celebrate.
A Stuart Chilig for Reading, Haratati is like Tommy J. Van Danga. Geforstanach by Kenny Dalglish came at Hoshachid, I used to get Tommy at Ashka Celtic.
For me to get him back up there and to Celtic was, for me, it was a no-brainer.
He was thrilled, absolutely thrilled. I don't know, I just felt as though he just thought that's where he kind of was meant to be, that's where he belonged, and it was just anything, getting him in there every day. He just absolutely loved it.
He was just such a massive fan of the club and stuff like that, and really believed in values and instilling the kind of the Celtic way, or whatever you would say.
Ultimately, in his head, there was only one place he ever wanted to get back to.
Arafata gus yn Rotomi yn Lieb sefyllach y ddiest, sy'n club y togal cwchba yn lig yn nwy o Borein an y Davila.
Songs to say, it's so lonely round the fields of Athenry.
A chahese Kenny Dalglish fatas yn oped. Sy'n og fias gaf Martin O'Neill hadys agos fa driach gila ag Tommy Burns ma charnot lesach y iolcri y cwyd y sas bounce shays yn y blianach yn dy Czech Gynnis na van dan gaheen.
He had to go into hospital then and get lymph nodes removed in his groin. So he get them removed. And we were told, we were told that they came back clear.
So again, it was kind of like, right, great, that's that done. Away, thank God for that. Thank God that's over. And I don't think any of us ever really thought we didn't worry about then.
Le fada gyn y feog idd yn torch a loch flein, charofadagus yn bro Tommy idd asha cwpydd, san y Jew hwn.
Yeah, I'm keeping well. And just started back training again after that was about 6 weeks before I could do anything. So just getting back in it again, and hopefully I'll be able to take up the male modelling very shortly.
Savars, da vile sigach, hai Tommy Burns en ymachig, maar les vanage yn y skip yn asynta. Be yw'r môr y fasioga, agos I gainich na cwmys yn coachi ac yw edela.
The mark of respect, or how did you gauge his success, or his respect in the game? When Walter went, he brought Tommy in as an assistant. Now that crosses all divides in Glasgow, and that speaks volumes, not just for Tommy but also for Walter.
Ali and him just bounced off each other, you know, the one-liners and the jokes and all of that kind of stuff. And he loved that because there was no real pressure on him to make the big decisions. So he loved that, and he's still out there working with a high-quality player.
I think they had a lot of fun. I think he was just a pure wind-up. I think if anything, he was probably more a hindrance than a help to Walter Smith, because it would be like having a child.
Walter Smith spoke about a time that he was giving a team talk. my dad fell asleep in the middle of the team talk and started snoring. I think they actually all got up and left and just turned the light off and left him sleeping in there. But that was just him. It was hilarious. It was just so laid back and funny, yeah.
Yn tosioch va gwpydd I tu fy Yeramalchich Bertie Vogts.
Absolutely loved Bertie Vogts. Probably, I think he was maybe one of the only ones.
The way he was treated, my dad just thought it was awful. Because it was. At the end of the day, when it comes down to it, it's a game of football. It's a bunch of guys running about kicking a ball into a net. Do you know what I mean? That's what it is when you think about it. Do you know what I mean? So the way Bertie Vogts was treated in the papers for losing, my dad just thought it was just disgusting. But they kept in touch. My dad went to visit him in Germany.
Chai Jonathan Collar the added and Tudus gan y Geramalt. Be Tudus adas mach nach rachagas a chayna van. Gesorich and Lurachai Jonathan of the year kech with a lechet euro.
I went down to the restaurant and I kind of says to him, you know, you're doing the U language, you know, you're doing the usual, that sign language, it means nothing. So she rings it up and it's 49 euros. So I was like, for 2 sandwiches? I was like, all right. So I paid for it, and I was sitting about half an hour. So he's texting me, where are you, Bammy Breeze, and all that. So I'll never forget the door to the kitchen opened, and it was like something out of Beauty and the Beast. It was like everything coming out with trays of stuff. And I'm marching, we were in the tallest room of the tallest tower, and I'm marching this staff of about 7 people up with these trays. And I opened the door and he's sitting in his dressing gown, and he just sees all these people come in, and he was fuming, you know, he's sitting there and he's scamming his dressing gown on and all that. And it was honestly, and he's like, where's the change? I was like, change? There's about 10 charcuterie boards there. I was like, there's no change. Unbelievable. That was probably one of the funniest moments ever. You know, looking back on it at the time, it was like, I am mortified about this. Pure 2 lifts up and down to take the staff up to the room to get them all up there. It was hysterical.
A steward the Walter mag go in driach na halap a agel, vader sin am gefuute genoppe de golke Tommy, a haran mach, the tune da gada edash go heoloch a chritchev agus balkoshak I the clubbe. Under the gaff Gordon Strachan hadis vo Marta Guneel, maar manager Celtic, who get Tommy is jach gan a charkelake maar goed in a kiet skippe. Ba oorlog het haast, the son a noikri horse traje, ach jemig at a grue gosnig.
He had this thing where he was relentless in his pursuit that to improve us every day. It was not on a match day, for instance, you'd pick up, training was his big thing. And that's probably the biggest thing I took from Tommy, is how you trained every day. And there was a laugh and joke, but it was serious when Tommy would say, right, 10 more minutes, someone would shout, stick the floodlights on, because you were going to be there for another hour. Then when I progressed up into the first team, and Tommy's a first team coach, Gordon Strachan many a time had to tell Tommy, we have a game in 2 days, you need to get them off the pitch, because he was desperate to improve us all the time, and he was infectious that way. And you couldn't help but hanging everywhere. He said, and listen, bear in mind the things he was teaching you, and you were very aware of how good a coach he was as well.
It absolutely tormented them, I think. But they loved it. Like, I think they absolutely loved it. But yeah, just so passionate about like the way he wanted them to play, like this is the way Celtic play, and he just thought if I can instill it in them from a young age.
Like Jonathan at the time was like my dad's shadow. He would just go training or watching games or whatever. And so he kind of knows a lot of those boys quite well, and they would kind of say, oh, how does it feel that your dad loves such and such more than he loves you, and all this kind of thing, like winding them up, because I think he just adored all the guys and really could kind of see something in them, and like that I think a lot of them just young, honest, good guys that like, supported Celtic and stuff like that as well, so I dare say probably seen a bit of himself in them.
San Skol chunig mach Tommy Michael yn talach as a hwyd Adam na Gidi, fa fi could enyam de Coonant ag Celtic as joit the Tommy Turley and Dachiachke.
And my dad came in, I was at McGeary's house, and I was in the house the next day, and he was all excited, and everybody else telling all his pals, and I was like, he's got no idea that's my dad that was at his house last night. But yeah, it was great with the young players. That was really important to him as well, to have like players from like himself. Do you mean like young guys for Glasgow that just want to get a kind of shot?
Crua je de vaat getraini, wat tu vele di Tommy en de vaat jelik de klucheta de noke. Doen dan gebrosnige.
I only found this out years later. It was my dad that maybe rang him to say, look, he's struggling, but that was him to a T. He dropped everything to come and made sure I was okay. He was someone that I think all the players you speak to at that age, we hung on every word he said, and it didn't need to be a meeting at the digs, which was massively appreciated. Sometimes just passing in the corridor, 20 seconds of his time was worth a lifetime.
Tommy would see the individual for what they were and try to get into maybe their heart and soul, I think, apart from what he developed as a football player. And I bet if you were to ask most players he worked with, they would just repeat what I'm saying. How much Tommy Burns helped him, how kind he was, how generous he was with his time, how caring he was.
He was able to speak to people in their own level, and it was always grounded and knew where he came from. And I think he always felt that he wanted to impart that to people, that he was never getting above himself. He was, just a lucky man to have held those jobs as player, manager, and any sort of coaching job that he had at Celtic.
He would lower his voice right down, and you had to listen really intently, and he would make the point. Are you listening? And then he would get a point across, and everybody was focused for that tour. And he had that fantastic ability, even though the red hair was there, and you would expect the opposite, but he knew how to manage people, he knew how to lead, and he was a great leader from that perspective.
A fysat je kuchach mar liche gashiasat le fachkel cod escada.
You might be up in Inverness, and you know what it's like. It can be gale force winds, and at the time Inverness is a very physical team, and someone like Yuri Yarosik would maybe play for his stature, and Aidan would get left out. But Tommy would pull Aidan. Aidan wouldn't take it well to be left out of any team wanted to play all the time, which was a good thing. But Tommy would say the gaffer's leaving you out because your Barnet won't last the 90 minutes. So you couldn't help but laugh.
So we're in Florida, and like my dad was quite just so laid back, like nothing fazed him. So obviously if you've been to America, you know what the roads are like it's just straight like highways, and he would just decide he was doing U-turns in the middle and stuff like that. Like, and George McCluskey, I always remember like this one day he done it really bad, and George was in the car behind us with his family, and literally as we're doing the U-turn, I always remember like seeing like his car falling, but just seeing George's face, and it was like literally as white as a sheet, as if what the hell is he doing, this absolute madman. Yeah, that was crazy. And then we all went back to my villa, and one of his wee girls ran right through the glass like door.
And like took the full thing off the frame, and she landed in the pool on top of the patio door.
That was actually like a Lilo in our pool. She was floating about on top of this.
Well done, bag!
Chai Academy Celtic ag Lennoxton Osglwg sy'n dafar 2007 a charo Tommy yn lad sa Chîn. Ac yn tai, tras y flynwdd, fa fan yn malad yn och gyddiist, se fed y sychiad o age.
He had this diary, he kept the diary open every day. It was on the kitchen worktop. So in the diary he was writing kind of all the appointments that he had, meetings, you know, everything that he had to do. Jonathan's birthday, Emma's birthday, you know, that mental. I had to write it in a diary. So it was. I remember kind of going to work one day and spying the diary, and he was like, "That beats in," and I was like, "That, you know, that's strange." But you're like that, you don't know. But subconsciously, you're thinking, why would he be going there if everything's all right? Do you know what I mean?
Ed an lásan de rucu an gile Gemma Cole ed an nunna lá fichiad gena Yaran, Yins Rosemary de Jenna, guro ailse Tommy at Chilig, snachro leas an ga an trapsa.
I didn't kind of understand fully kind of what it meant, and then I was like, what do you mean? Like, what does that mean? Like terminal, like, and she's like, well, they can't. There's nothing they can do. They can't treat it.
No nach de nacht Tommy nor Rosemary a chaint an no uurachke va Emma Avrasach. Agus fiúsan de chunig in a bheit cíalach a had cóleichgin har a dat a gúleichge de sinnéach a hannig a situation.
And then he came up that night with my mum to see Cole for the night visit. And I remember he just got so upset. Like, I was in the bed, he literally fell on top of me, like just crying. And I thought, what is wrong? Like, this, I don't even feel this is happy tears. I feel as though this is genuine, like, you are distraught here.
And the hannig at Yachi as an hospital, chrynig Tommy as Rosemary and Chewlach Cala, gus an droch neach gyn shagaif.
We were all sitting down. I was going out that night, and I was like, right, I'm away. And Mum was like, Michael, sit down. And I was like, there you go. Do you know what I mean? But then my dad said, no, sit down. I was like, oh God, something going on here. And then he said he beat the doctor, and he said he'd not got long left. And it doesn't sink in. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're just kind of like almost like numb to it.
And it was just like stunned silence, you know. 10 words has just totally flipped your life upside down, you know, and perspective is like, that's unbelievable.
The sort of worst thing about it for me was the fear that he had, and you could tell he had, because he said that, he's like, I'm absolutely shit myself. Somebody said anyway, well, that's like Cole's head, and that's God giving you something to live for, and he's like, no, that's God giving you something to live for, and you're like, oof.
To be a great leader, for me, is about communication. It's about building relationships. And, you know, when it comes down to business, you're strong, you demand of people, because you're in that position, you know why you have to demand. But in the main, when that's over, you're their friend, and you have to build a relationship and create an environment to change people's behaviours over time, and I think he could do that.
Too wet and too cold was never in Tommy's vocabulary. He was just loved it.
Well, he's opinionated. That leads you to be the manager.
Hús get a fysig Tommy nach roleas am ga, who my spirit choart to bring us an hospital.
I was working in the chippy, and the phone went one night. So I picked up, and I was like, hello, DeMarco's, and he's like, hello. Right, so I was thinking, who is this? So he starts like putting together this order, right? And it was like talking to a drunk person. I was like, oh, I was going to hang up. And I was like that. Right, okay, I was like that. What's the address? So he gave a random address. And I was like, what's your phone number? And he read out his mobile number. And I was like, yeah, I had it down. Honestly, too much time in his hands.
We used to sit and reminisce about everything. It was great just getting back to the days from the East End of Glasgow, from the playing football in the streets to present day, and we never get fed up just talking, never.
Menid ven, hosich uit de neach kinsje ga charretjens ga geoprichen. Be pulje groeien van gaif.
I was abroad in Turkey, and I got the call from Rosemary to tell me that was it. There was no way back, and I just spent the whole day crying.
I went up to see him, and they called me into the kitchen. He said it's not looking very good, you know. So that was the first signs that he kind of told me that it wasn't looking very good. So it was a bit hard to take, to be honest.
He said that he's got 6 months to live. What did you say?
Scared at me, I was sick. I felt sick in my stomach, and it was hard.
And we all hugged each other. And Tom went his way and we all went our own way. That was it.
My mum was up seeing him, he was in Ross Hall, and this nurse came in and she's reading all the stuff off the chart, and he's like, no, that's not me. So she went out and my dad was like, Rosemary, you get out there and find somebody. I'm in here for a blood transfusion, I'm going to end up leaving my bib job, you know. I was absolutely howling, you know. And that was just him in a nutshell. It was just one line. His one-liners were just unbelievable.
Fiús yn y ddfad va Tommy dolostau y gwbydd gychla, y fiachan dys na balachio gygen yn y ser, mae'r chlychyd yn smargwnia.
I don't remember Tommy struggling at all. He was in and out of the club. Obviously we knew something was going on. We never knew the extent of it because any time he was in our company, he would never ever let on. You would never understand what he was going through.
Who got Tolachus Morga, Koikner, Yena Hanek from Academy, Aiken Assas in the Game Champions League in the AC Milan.
The away leg, I always remember the first half. I'd had a good half, especially a young lad going into an environment like that. Tommy at half time, I remember just getting washed, and he said, "That's you. You've matched the best." And AC Milan were the best at the time. You've matched the best in Europe. He said, "Now go and need to be better."
Marachai Slanje Tommy Vuye, Sauna Balaja the Igasa Khrushchev.
I always remember back to he'd brought out his autobiography in 1989. It's a book he'd done with Hugh Keevans, and in the dedication he dedicates it to Rosemary. So it's kind of family faith in football, so to Rosemary, to Our Blessed Lady, and to the Celtic supporters.
His family was most important to him. It was like family faith in football. That was Thomas.
That was his yoga, absolutely. That was his yoga. His mind yoga, yeah.
He just felt like in his life, everything that he had in his life was from God. When you went to Mass with my dad, it was almost like he kind of zoned out.
He would sit for like hours. And I was kind of thought, I wonder what he's saying, what's he doing for that length of time? But he just kind of zoned out. It was just in his own world.
I think just knowing that he had that faith and it was so strong, it almost kind of like helped me a wee bit, like just to think he's going to be fine, he knows he's going to be fine type thing.
He was never down. We'd talk about it and he used to say to me, "I'm not worried, Gerald, I'm not worried, Gerald, I'm not worried. I'm more frightened for Rosemary and my kids, how they're going to go on when I'm not there. I'm not worried about it because the man upstairs will take care of me."
We never said like goodbyes or anything like that, or you're dying or nothing. We just didn't. We just continued with everyday life. Like, and I remember thinking like if anybody's going to get a miracle, it's going to be him. But it just wasn't to be type thing.
Leis an ail sinnis de sgúlig, hwyl Tommy as Rosemary gan rang as on lies ŵr, y vat an dochas y fyddiga bec an ŵn y farach.
So I went to Paris, and I remember like just kind of texting back and forward every day. And he wasn't eating or anything by this point. I think he took really kind of sick when he was over there.
And I remember my mum phoning and just saying, "Emma, we're coming home." And I was like, "No, you're not." I said, "You are not coming home until he's fine." And she's like, "No, basically he couldn't even get the treatment, like he deteriorated rapidly in France, and the doctors in the hospital said one drop it would kill him."
I don't even know why, but I went round to 10 o'clock mass on a Saturday morning. I remember just sitting at the back and the tears were just falling off my face, just thinking about him being over there, and it was terrible.
I always kind of say he went to Paris, but he never came back. You know, when he came back, he was just, like, you're talking about a week, maybe not even that, and it was like, you would not believe that somebody could deteriorate so much in a week.
I remember going to see him the Beats and Sorry on the Friday night, and I actually could not believe my eyes when I walked in the room, because it was as if he'd gone from 50 to 80 in the space of about 2 weeks. I honestly couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Very soon after that, they moved him back to the house, which was obviously end-of-life care, you know.
Just so sad, look. I try and actually block that out, because I just think I don't even really feel sad for me, I just feel more sad for him. Like, we were all in about the house and I had this new wee baby, and I just think he's lying in that bed thinking, like, where am I going? Kind of thing.
Dr. Derek didn't stay any night. He'd come in, he'd make sure everything was good, and then leave. And that day, I remember that day, the afternoon, he goes like, no, I think I'm going to stay tonight.
And I remember thinking, right, okay, this must be it then. Like, it must be kind of close.
I remember I got a phone call maybe about 2 in the morning, and she said, I'm going out to get the priest. He's need to come down. He's need to come back down. And I remember thinking, I don't want to, I just want to stay here. I don't want to go back down. I don't. So anyway, I went back down, and it was my mum's house, a bungalow, so my dad was in the living room. And I remember going through to his room, which was like the very back of the house, and just sitting there with Cole. I could actually hear my dad breathing, because it was obviously so laboured by this point.
You didn't know what to do when he was kind of dying. You're kind of like, you knew you only had like a couple hours left. And I was like, I go to, like, he's unconscious, like it's 4 in the morning, like your eyes were shutting. But I ended up going to the front room and just lying on the floor in the front room in front of the fireplace.
An an nuadan beacon na matne had the chocolate juk in a cage in Davin a hawk, Yake, Tommy Burns, Kayla, Ad, Shenad, agus Carish the Voran, Harawach Lichit Sahun.
For us, we kind of knew that day was coming, but nothing braces you for the moment, you know.
He was so fit and well, to be in the space of 9 weeks not here anymore, like, I can't even explain it. It was just so, just couldn't take it in.
At sa van siolach a jelik de shachawlachke van popel a fakel a jachgadach genek path Celtic. Id land hori, gag Rosemary san siolach and dachi is on a tourisme yedu called the Tommy agus honshichat and tlia hiave tarsing a vala.
Round past Celtic Park, and I remember somebody saying at the time, just want to get out the car, and I was like, no, I don't want to get out. I think my gran got out the car, which I couldn't believe, and I think Michael and Jonathan did, because they felt we really should. And now I probably regret that a wee bit, because I think I should really get out and thanked some of those people for being there.
My thoughts are, of course, the people Tommy treasured most. Rosemary, Emma and Craig, and first grandchild Cole, Jenna and her boyfriend Terry, Michael and Jonathan. Tommy Burns was a unique and special man, an inspiration to many of us. I miss you, old pal.
Kayla agus Rúniche Tommy bo sheachgat a céir, chrunig Rosemary Burns called the Chowlach is Carrigan gus soddy slan agalik in Dinneche.
It was the day after, that's when the reality really hit, that was him away. That was hard.
Yeah, just heartbroken, like, I think probably, like, she still is, like, just, do you know what I mean, we all are, like, you don't ever really kind of go over it. I think you just learn to kind of rebuild your life round about your loss type thing. Like, you don't forget, and it's just, I think you just learn to kind of live with this kind of hole in your life. Like, I think that's the only way to kind of describe it.
Thomas Burns was the best human being I've ever met in my life, ever. I never heard him say a bad word against anybody.
Well, Tommy said he was just a supporter that turned lucky. But I think the supporters, I think they were the lucky ones, because they got to see him play.
I was so lucky I got to be as close as I was to him. So you're grateful in a way, but you'd be lying if you say you didn't wish for more. But Tommy left such a mark on the world.
And also the ones who he helped in and around Carlton, with his support and whatever other ways he wanted to go about helping them. The benefits they've got for Tommy Burns wasn't because he was a footballer, because he was a fantastic person.
And he was a great example for any youngsters, young men, young women, to lead their life. And if the world was like Tommy Burns, the world would be a far better place today than it is.
and he believes that he's up there looking down on us, and hopefully that's the case, and maybe I'll see him in a few years' time. I'm hoping that's going to be the case too. So.
What is most important to Tommy Burns is the family brought up, you know what I mean? His wife Rosemary, his 2 daughters Emma, Jenna, his 2 boys, Jonathan and Michael. When you see them, you see the part that both Tommy and Rosemary had in bringing up this family.
Because he was away so young, you feel kind of robbed. He'll always be a kind of part of me, I think, that's always going to kind of miss him and kind of want him back.
Just unbelievably difficult, you know, because I went everywhere with him. The best part of your week was sitting in with him watching Match of the Day.
You know, we're 10 years down the line and I don't think he's coming back, but I still think he's very much a huge part of my life that I don't think he'll ever not be there. Do you know what I mean?
I feel as though my 3 kids know him because I talk about him all the time. My Eve, she's a bit of a drama queen, she's only 8, but even like a couple of weeks ago she came down the stairs, sat her to her bed, and she came down the stairs crying. I was like, what's wrong? But also she didn't want to go to her bed. I just miss my granda. I was like, Eve, you didn't even meet him. I said, go to bed right now. But they actually feel as though they do know him. Obviously my wee boy Cole, he's 10 now, so he's getting right into his football, so he's like YouTubing like football games where my dad was playing more. And he'll come in and say, Mum, look at this goal my granda scored, and all that type of thing. So yeah, like I think I just feel as though he's here, like he's around us every day. Like I do genuinely believe that. But can I just like it like that? I think that's the way it should be.
When you're 5 and 6 and 7 years old, as a very young person, you have your dreams and everything like that. I've been very fortunate that all mine have came true, and I thank God for that.